Since this is the second time I'm talking about Phineas and Ferb, I think it's appropriate for me to talk about the Christmas special of their own Christmas Vacation. And I'm also looking at the extended edition, which means that I've watched the 33-minute episode, then the 22-minute episode. I really don't care much considering that I don't watch this show much as other people who've been supporting Disney Channel since in the 2000s and the earlier 2010s while this cartoon was airing. While Phineas and Ferb are enjoying their Christmas together, Kansas needs to find a way in order to find Jeremy the best Christmas gift ever. However, her parents' flight has been delayed, so it's really obvious that when they're not around, Phineas and Ferb is going to do a lot of crazy antics like they do throughout this entire show, which this is one of the only episodes where we see Kane's not bothering to bust Phineas and Ferb whatsoever. Because at this point, by this time of year, we will probably see the worst of what Cadence gets in this. And for people who actually enjoy Cadence in this, I really think that it's probably a breath of fresh air to actually see her not gain any punishment whatsoever in this. As for Perry the Platypus, he realized that Dr. Doofenshmirtz is about to do a dangerous plan by completely ruining everyone else's Christmas because he hates Christmas, but at the same time he also sings a song that he does not hate Christmas. Really awkward considering the fact that he's the villain of this, but considering that he's also a comic relief, you should probably expect him to do a lot of goofy antics whenever you see him on screen, especially while Perry is a secret agent and stuff like that. Doofenshmirtz's plan is to have the entire world completely annihilated because of the invention that he made, and since that his invention works out, Santa decides to cancel Christmas since that there was no one nice on the list, and there's no reason for him to go all over the world to send Christmas presents to everyone. So it's up to Phineas and Ferb along with their friends and their sister in order to save Christmas from canceling. And that's really all I have to say of the plot of this episode. All I can say is that this episode really knows how to make the Phineas and Ferb and Christmas formulas work together in a really exciting Christmas special. With so much going on involving Phineas and Ferb just trying to make the best Christmas ever, while Cadence just trying to find the perfect gift from Germany, along with Perry the Platypus stopping Dr. Doofenshmirtz, it really equals to a really great Christmas special to see all this happen, especially the amount of songs that this episode has. And as much as I really try to go through all of them, I really found some of the songs really entertaining, while the other half mostly forgettable. Not saying that they're bad, but at the same time, I'm just not into the songs in Phineas and Ferb. I may in Steven Universe and My Little Pony, but for Phineas and Ferb, I'm sorry, I'm just not. I get that they're short and they're supposed to be this show's style of writing short songs, but at the same time, it just still didn't catch my interest. Granted, it's the style that people really love from Phineas and Ferb, but still. As for the humor coming from Dr. Doofenshmirtz, who, for the majority of his experiment, he tries to find figure pudding for the Christmas choir people, since that they were singing a song they want pudding and they want it now. I can understand the humor of it, but at the same time, I'm not a fan of it. When it comes to Disney Channel humor, mainly from cartoons, it's mostly a hit and miss. And in my opinion, I honestly think that Phineas and Ferb's humor does kind of work when you actually admire the characters' interactions and how they act. But at the same time, I don't consider this one of my favorite humors from any other cartoon. I could say that it's better than the SpongeBob episodes from the post-movie era, but still. But other than the humor, I really found the majority of this episode a lot more entertaining to see Phineas and Ferb just trying to set all this up for Santa to land his sled and just go into his house to drop off Christmas gifts. And not only that, the song sequence that they sing is probably one of my favorite songs, mainly the fact that we get to see Phineas and Ferb completely decorating the whole city just because it's Christmas. The song that they sing is called That Christmas Feeling, which I have to admit, the title of the song really sums up everything that what we feel during this time of year. Especially the fact that it's also the last month before we reach into the new year. To see Phineas and Ferb and the other characters just completely decorating the whole city just because they want to actually have the best Christmas ever really makes me appreciate of what the inspiration can easily make this song a lot more enjoyable to listen to. Seriously. As much as I don't enjoy Phineas and Ferb, I can actually admire the creativity and the episodes that they do while Phineas and Ferb just trying to do something exciting during the summer. And since that this is taking place during the Christmas time, that is really saying a lot. And when we completely see the characters completely depressed that Christmas is cancelled, I have to admit that the comedy is actually done right, especially of how they're in a complete depression of the fact that they can't be able to get what they want, and their plans on making the best Christmas ever has completely scrapped. But since this is Phineas and Ferb we're talking about, expect the unexpected from them, if you haven't seen this show before, that is. Phineas's plan is to completely go all over Danville in order to send Christmas there instead of having Santa do that, since that he knows that everyone is naughty, even though it was a whole misunderstanding. I really have to say on this episode's way of just saying Christmas gifts to a location is a lot more better than the other episodes I've seen do this concept trope. Why? Well, for one, we see Phineas's friends making the gifts, Candace looking at each house that they had to stop at, and completely doing all this all night. It really goes to show that Phineas and Ferb actually does good deeds, even though that they've done disobedient things while their parents just don't see what's been going on during their time during the summer. But then again, that's just basically what Candace feels, wherever she managed to bust them, but at the end of the day, it ends up backfiring on her. Speaking of Candace, her relationship with Jeremy is, I can say that it's basically the relationship of Violet and Tony Wilder from the Incredibles movies. Well, she wants to actually impress Jeremy, and even though that sometimes she doesn't succeed, this episode really really lets you see the embracement between Jeremy and Cadence. I can tell that this is one of the only times where we actually get to see Cadence likable, when she's just trying to do something nice and actually respectful towards Jeremy. And these type of relationships is honestly way more better when it comes to forced relationships and love at first sight relationships that are just mostly hammered in. And no, I'm not talking about Twilight and Flash Century. At this point, it's getting done to death, and I've already made a 2-part video regarding about that 2 years ago. But Cadence in this episode, I really actually found her really likable compared to what she's just trying to do. She's fully aware that Phineas and Ferb are doing this stuff just because they're completely delusional and stuff like that. So she decides to step in, considering that she wants to save Christmas as well. Again, this is one of the only episodes where we get to see Cadence be more likable instead of just busting them completely. And for my correction that I mentioned earlier in the episode, yes, I am aware that the fact that she got into Phineas and Ferb's bedroom too late, just before they were racing against each other in their beds. So don't worry, I've already made constructive criticism of myself. As for Perry the Platypus, as usual, he completely defeats Dr. Doofenshmirtz and then heads back to Phineas and Ferb's place and act like none of this have ever happened. But then again, he's keeping his identity, or his true identity, a secret from his family. So I really don't expect much from him to do. other than the fact that he's actually entertaining. But I completely say entertaining a lot because at this point I really don't have a lot of alternative words to describe these characters. But anyway, I should probably express my opinions about the ending of this episode. The characters actually meet Santa Claus at the end, and Santa Claus actually thanked Phineas for completely doing the Danville one by sending all the gifts to all over the world because he wasn't able to do it in time. Not only that, he also takes the clubhouse that Phineas and Ferb made for him. And at this point, he's fully aware that Phineas and Ferb aren't the children that he's used to wherever he's around the world. But then again, that's just basically the charm from Phineas and Ferb. And I really have to say that the words that Santa says on having Phineas being Santa for one day really makes you appreciate the fact that Phineas and Ferb just wants to do everything even outside of his summer vacations. Believe me, the fact that this is basically sums up on To Act Your Own Age, which is the finale of this, really completely culminates everything throughout every single episode from this show to the final episode of this show, which makes me realize of how interesting and inspiring this cartoon is. And the episode ends with Phineas and Ferb's parents completely returning along with their grandmother and father, or grandparents, in order to enjoy the Christmas that they saved. And I really have to express of what I actually like about the ending of this. Not only it's a really great Christmas ending for a cartoon that isn't meant to be mostly heartwarming. Well, okay, it does have heartwarming moments, but for an episode that is mainly for its creativity and for the most really hilarious conflict between Dr. Doofenshmirtz and Perry the Platypus, I really think that this ending really makes Phineas and Ferb a lot more better show than I remember it. And that is saying a lot when I don't usually watch a lot of episodes from this. And with each episode I've watched, if it's a good episode, I can actually see more and more on why people really admire Phineas and Ferb being one of the best Disney Channel cartoons in the 2000s and the 2010s. Even though that I may enjoy other Christmas specials, I think that this special is pretty much sums up everything that what Phineas and Ferb can do even outside of summer vacation. So for what it's worth, I will watch this special again whenever I have the time for the next following years, whether I'm in the Christmas mood. But apparently I still have to watch other Christmas specials for my next year's schedule, so at this point it's always a debate if I want to watch these again or not in the future. Sometimes watching it once is enough, but watching it twice could be enough for people who actually enjoyed this episode. So overall, I really enjoyed Phineas and Ferb Christmas Vacation, and considering that I've been watching the extended version of this, I really think that the extended edition is something you should probably waste your time on, even though that it's much longer, but at the same time, extended editions is honestly really interesting to see more and more of how cartoons and live action episodes have been cut out scenes, since that they only can ran for either an hour and a half or just plain 22 minutes. So overall, I give Phineas and Ferb the Christmas Vacation an 8 out of 10.